Good afternoon. Welcome to Risk On, episode 33, sponsored by FOMO, the best multi-chain trading experience in crypto. I trade there, Sats trades there, Swizzle trades there and pays me all of his ref fees. Um, it is good to be a FOMO trader. I'm joined today using promo code Risk On to get half off trading fees. See you on the leaderboard. Leaderboard's got to be kind of gross today. I haven't yet, but it can't be good. Swizzle, you were there for a couple days, I believe, and then things went wrong. Last episode, the three of us were stupidly bullish.
Mm.
In hindsight, that was euphoria of a 2-day run of a couple coins going to like 40, 50 million.
Yeah.
We were greedy.
Yeah.
Sentiment in life comes at you fast. Swizzle, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, a little bit foolish. I think foolish is the word, naive. I think man, I liked in theory what we were talking about. The
Mm.
concept was great, but in retrospect, in hindsight's always 2020. Um, I think the reality is still macro turbulence and all the issues on chain that we've been talking about for months. I think we've been very vocal about on this podcast for months still exist. No solutions have come to that, and therefore there's not just like a structural problem, but a cultural problem. And so I think where we got excited about a new narrative, we got excited about some liquidity that was maybe a little bit less than we thought, but was something. Um, Unfortunately, I think until we have like confirmation of like an overall change where there's proof that you can hold something, we were naive to think that it's not the right move. As much as we want it to be the case, not selling the run up, holding, enabling the round trip, lack of risk protection. Unfortunately, I did it for I won't say the world to see, but our little echo chamber to see on FOMO and on crypto Twitter. Uh, Proud to be at your service and round tripped a lot, but lessons were learned. I think a lot to talk about. I think a lot of the dust needs to be settled here, and there's a lot of good discussion for us to have today about what has happened and what we can expect moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely got burnt on a lot of this stuff. Some tough round trips. I did take a little bit of profit on gas. I think I ended up in profit in gas, but still a devastating round trip of 80% of the P&L. And also Ralph, I wasn't expecting that one. I thought it was looking good for a brief moment. And then, yeah, I literally checked back 2 hours later and I was down 50%.
Yeah.
So yeah, tough on-chain environment
I
again.
guess we dive just right into that. So we spent last episode talking a lot about Ralph and gas, and they went on a tremendous run, of course, and the three of us all had decent positions, specifically in gas, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Swizzle held his on his public, held like 1% casually of gas, and just didn't sell a single token, and doubled down at 19 million or something like that, like an absolute animal, and round trip the whole thing for everyone to see. And we all talked ourselves into this bags meta concept.
Or maybe I talked everyone into it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we haven't done this in a couple of weeks, but I would want to give Sats our cringy KOL of the week award
Mm,
if we could, but I don't think we thought of the idea in time.
yeah.
Of Sats wrote a tweet, and last episode we were glazing you for writing this tweet, which went I
Mm-hmm.
think viral as far as CT goes, about how here it is, how
Shit.
Bags was gonna fuel the next on-chain rally, which it did for 72 hours, and then
It
everybody
did.
died. And in hindsight, how we talked ourselves into the idea that like we were just gonna steal other people's technology and then guilt them into endorsing a token that they would make minuscule fees off of, like a 2% off of volume, is so stupid.
I didn't think of the whole CCM narrative thing, or how it kind of basically is a glorified CCM meta. But I didn't think of that when I wrote this tweet. I was like, this gives an opportunity to onboard real creators and real devs, and then it sort of just turned into an absolute cesspool of endless tokens being created, and F sitting in VCs all day trying to find new devs so they can get to claim, and like the claim became like a sell. Like if you were in the token and the dev claimed, it was time to get out. Like your volume was here to get out, and that's what it sort of turned into. I just think we speed ran this meta. I think the bags meta did happen. It was just over 2 or 3 days, and then it was sort of over. And I think, if this happened a year or so ago, I think we would have got a lot more juice out of it. But I think the on-chain environment is still riddled with PTSD among most participants, where people are scared to hold things overnight, and including me, I'm scared to hold things overnight. When I slept on my gas bag, I was fully prepared to wake up and be zero. And I think and especially with low caps, like I think you notice with a lot of people on FOMO, they don't hold overnight. And most things, like Shaw's coin, for example, yesterday, I bought a lot of that at 4 mil because I was like, I can't be asked to sit here and wait around for an entry. Just a form of impatience. And if I just waited 2 or 3 hours, I would have got a 50% discount on it. Right. But yeah, that's just how it is at the moment. I struggle to see where that's going to change at the moment.
Yeah.
So
and then go on.
Sorry, go. I was just going to say, I think there's a couple things to talk through here in terms of like what happened. And like, obviously, like, I think where everything speed ran in a very negative way was from the point Steve from the gas token kind of like denounced, he kind of very optimistically announced his like endorsement and then pulled that back, denounced it, gas dies, and then a lot of stuff, obviously, like the narrative falls apart. And now it's looked at very similarly to the pump creator meta, a CCM meta. I think that said, like, if Steve doesn't do that, if there's nothing that like changes with the narrative of gas, this might have all had more legs. Everything might have still been in a much better place. We might have even been right. Maybe not, maybe. But I think the concerning element to me is more like fundamentally the cultural behavioral patterns we have, which are like, you had established leaders that stepped up in a meta. Now, whether the meta was going to sustain or not, like we saw what happened, but it either was going to sustain or it wasn't. What was concerning is like what happened, and I think this started after the Trump launch, after the Melania launch last year, January. It's been an entirely different phenomena than what we've seen, in 2023 and 2024, with the addition of like these token dilutive entities, pump fund, bonk, down the line. You now are in a situation where like, not only is there an option for more tokens, which we had tokens being created, but this concept of the daily runner happened, and people have really adapted so aggressively to, okay, I missed this one. Rather than wait for an entry on this, I'm going to try to find the next thing. And instead of there being 1 beta, 2 beta, 3 betas, now there's like, literally you go into these, if you're in any of these Telegram group chats, like you could have someone think they found the next, like great concept. They write up a paragraph, they have a whole thesis, and then the same person who's bullish on that posts another ticker in 10 minutes later. And it's like this recurring loop of like, insatiability to be early, without like some type of technological disruption that attacks this token dilution, which I don't know, it's going to have to be a really creative solution that also coincides with a cultural change, a cultural shift. I don't see how to escape that right now. And that's what troubles me, that, more so than losing the money on round tripping a couple tokens, that wasn't fun. But like, I'm more thinking about, okay, this is a recurring loop. This is a pattern. And it's really hard to see how we find a way to dig ourselves out of this without some really significant disruption, without like, real big cultural shift that has to stem from something.
Yeah. Kel, you guys know Kel, right? Kel XYZ. Mm-hmm. He had a tweet this morning basically saying that on-chain narrative traders are the 2023 NFT traders. And I quote tweeted him and was kind of like, maybe in this exact moment, yes, I believe that's true. But historically speaking, on-chain traders are the ones who have made the most money. Them and perps traders are the ones who make the most money during every crypto cycle. Like, I struggle to see how the whole on-chain thing is dead. His response was that he believes on-chain trading is dead forever. That narrative trading is dead forever, or at least it's significantly impaired purely due to a bunch of on-chain assets with no value and just a solid game of people chasing vapor to chase other vapor to chase other vapor, which kind of gets to your point, Swizzle, that you were just making. I think you're kind of saying the same thing Kel was saying to some degree, where it's like it's just fundamentally broken. And it was, thanks to Pump and the ability to make a bajillion tokens. And how do we correct that? I actually, the more I think about it, like, I kind of struggle to see a way out unless there's like significant liquidity and number go up and everything is solved, right? But like where it stands today with the amount of liquidity in it, like we all would have been better suited just like after Trump launched, like packing it up and going on vacation for 2 years.
This is true. At the same time, I think like the counter would be Bitcoin good, more opportunity on chain. Like that doesn't go away. I still think this, you have to recognize when that happens that like the system is fundamentally broken. There's a lot of stuff that has compounded on itself that's going to only amplify these problems. But when liquidity does come back, which it does, I think it does, if when Bitcoin, goes on its next leg, whenever that is, it doesn't, you just have to recognize that doesn't fix the problems though, right? And so like there will be enough liquidity that there will still be opportunity. The question is like, I hear that attack often where it's like, okay, the narrative traders on chain are the same people who were trading NFTs late NFT cycle. That's true. It was a bad place to be. It was people who, maybe a select group of people who failed to adapt, or there was a group of people who kind of like, kept going when the returns were no longer worth the risk reward. At the same time, those are the people who found the next leg, right? Because they didn't leave. So I think both can be true, where it's like, if we're spending a lot of time trading on chain right now, is that crazy? Yes. Is that like not a high likelihood of output decision in terms of risk reward? Yes. But also it's keeping you engaged to potentially find the next thing, which may or may not come, to Kel's point. But if it does, like those are the people who will adapt to it. So that's like the silver lining to me.
I think Frank had a decent point about this in his group chat, like he was voice noting it, and it's like this round of AI coins or whatever this meta was, open source code, we're not doing anything innovating. And in the AI season 1, yes, it was like we were doing things what weren't being done in Web 2 at the time, with the whole agents thing, with AI 16Z. Like this stuff wasn't happening in Web 2 yet. And on the flip side now, everything that's happening, what we're doing on chain, is being done in Web 2 but better. So there's no innovation, and that's not going to attract any new capital. Like there's a reason AI 16Z went to 2 bill. Yes, it ended up being a nothing burger, but at the time, it was generational. Everyone thought it was generational, and it's like it doesn't even have to be innovating necessarily. It has to just give off the thought of being innovating. And yeah, this whole bags meta, I guess we haven't really done anything new. We've just been recycling the same old tech what Web 2 are already doing and way ahead of us. So
yeah, I mean, it's so funny. We're taking from Web 2, we're borrowing it as our own, we're bullying these Web 2 guys into claiming fees. I mean, I saw screenshots of people like shilling Steve on fucking LinkedIn. Like
I saw these as well. People were reaching out to devs on LinkedIn DMs going, I've got an opportunity for you.
They were even in DMs. They were just commenting on their posts, man. Like, and then I don't know if someone made, people are making these like joke articles, but someone's like, once you touch crypto, like your life like is never the same, right? Like it follows you everywhere. Steve is going to get people bull posting gas to him forever. And once it gets to be like 100K market cap, he's going to get like the really poor guys who are trying to like corner a bunch of supply and run it back up that are all over him. And like we do these things, we behave in this manner, and then we expect people to want to do things in the space. And it's like, well, that's not how it works. And then, also we have all these, like, we're in this period right now on chain where like the liquidity just isn't there. I mean, we had Ansem, come out of the woodwork to try to like inspire some confidence on chain, right? which is really important. I think
Yeah, I think so as well.
he did something that we all should really appreciate. He put his name on the line, and he did it with Mick Shirley, and then he did it again with with uh with Gap, and really ignited some excitement back into the trenches for a few hours. And now he's catching shit for it, which I don't think is right. But once you saw those kind of run, we saw them top out. You just saw liquidity sloshing between token to token. Like once something caught a bit, like you could see the liquidity going between Tomato, Gas, and Ralph on chain in real time. You would see Ralph go up, you would see Tomato and Gas dip, and vice versa. And it's just the money's not there, man.
Yeah, not to sustain as many coins as we have, trying to push at the same time. Like, I think the reason Gas worked at the start is everyone was like, okay, this is the runner. Like, but then as soon as Gas started running, everyone pivots to back on chain. Let's go hunt down a better guy than Gas, and then let's write a thesis on Twitter on why this token's better than Gas, and then liquidity dribbles out of that, and the process continues. Like, it's a never-ending cycle. But yeah, I think that the problem is just a lack of innovation on chain, and nothing interesting really happening. And it's tough to see from where we are right now of where that innovation next comes from. But do I think it happens? Yes, like 100%. I struggle to see the angle. A lot of people still say it's AI, but yeah, it's a tough place to see right now.
I think the reality is, like, right now, especially it was seen with this bags meta and the kind of the hope of the AI resurgence. There's this huge emphasis on like trying to find people from outside crypto and get them to endorse the crypto project or the token that has been created in association. I kind of think it's reverse thinking. Like, I know this is maybe counter to what everyone else is saying, but the reality is, like, I think, like, you look at Web2 investing, people writing angel checks to these, friends and family rounds and seed stage rounds for AI, these new AI companies, anything in any tech trend over the last, 20 years. 99% of those companies, the early ones, are going to zero also. It's just like this is the internet rail, so everything moves super fast. I think on-chain traders are, as a whole, we're pretty bad asset selectors, and we move really fast. And so there's a huge backlash when these things do go to zero because it's so public, it's so obvious, and we choose really clearly bad assets and people that are in it for the wrong reasons. I think a shift to going back to like established crypto native founders who understand kind of the space, that would be something to look at, rather than trying to force these other people into accepting like a token affiliation for a project that has nothing to do with crypto. So I think there's a little disconnect there. And then I just also wanted to comment on like the Ansem part. Yeah, like, he was wrong here. Obviously these things he kind of decided to stand behind backfired and didn't go well. But like, as I can say this as I probably round tripped as much or more than anyone on the Gas token. I have no issue with the fact that he decided to, put his name behind that and kind of like push it forward, because yeah, like, he took a stab at something. People are going to be wrong. He kind of, he had an anticipation for, if X happens, then, this can be big. And then the opposite happened. But like, if we can't get back to a point where, some of the more influential people who've had success in the past, if they're going to be widely followed, like, we need to allow them to have opinions and push. It's not like he blatantly scammed anyone or did anything. He just gave his opinion on something, and people have been begging for people to put themselves out there and take a stance on something. He took a stance and he happened to be wrong. I applaud him for having the balls to do it, though, because he doesn't have to do that anymore. I think he was just doing it because he saw something. He said, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe this could be good for the space.
Yeah, I think
nothing wrong with that.
A real problem is, like, the trenches view Ansem shill now as a top signal, because they're like, it can't get better than this. It can't get better than this shill, and this is our maximum exit liquidity. So people sell into his shill, and it's so different from back in the day. Like when he shilled Housecoin, for example, shilled it at 10 mil. A few days later, it was at 70 or something. And it's like people don't view that anymore. People are literally, it's like the claim fucking thing. It's like people view it as a chance to sell and get volume to sell. And it's a tough thing to revert. It's a tough thing to revert, but it also comes down to the same thing I mentioned earlier, like on-chain PTSD, of people just believing, I can't sit in this long term. Like it's gone are the days of sitting in a coin for a week. Like,
yeah, no one has delusional price targets anymore. Everyone's good with 50% to 3x now, which is fine, and that's responsible and whatever it is. But you couple that with the amount of bad actors on chain currently, and the amount of rugs and the dispersion of liquidity. Like, I have no clue the number, but I have to imagine there were 4,000 to 5,000 bags tokens dropped in the last few days. Right? Like,
yeah, I reckon
I have no idea.
Out of all of them as well, maybe 200 claimed, 300 claimed. I don't know the exact number as well, but I don't think that many would claim. And the ones that did claim are mostly at zero now. But yeah, it's a tough game to play. It was a tough meta to play, definitely.
Yeah, it was a tough meta to play unless you sprayed and prayed everything, and then you sold the claim on the ones that claimed. That was the only way you won the meta. Was by doing that. But like, I don't know, guys, like my personal sentiment right now is pretty all-time low. Like, seeing like liquidity, fragmentation, Bitcoin price action. Like, last week at this time, I was kind of like excited that maybe there was some life coming back to the trenches, only for that like to be completely crushed. And now we've seen Bitcoin kind of lose some key levels here. My Zcash bag is getting crushed.
I haven't checked yet today.
It's not great. And like, macro stuff isn't great. And I think, to be realistic, on-chain hasn't been good for a long time. And it was naive of me or us to expect that to just like change overnight. I think everybody and their mother is like, oh, we need a new narrative, but like, there is no fucking narrative. And so we're trying to force narratives whenever we see something like relatively novel or different pop up. And you can't force things here. They gotta come naturally.
I think it just needs a big, like I think we said this last time, it needs a big wealth creation event. Like, I think the last brief period of on-chain success everyone saw was after Asta launched on BNB, and there's no surprise because Asta was a massive wealth generation event for the whole chain, and we haven't had that in a long time, where you see these crazy P&L cards of people making $3, $4, $5, $6 million on one coin. We haven't had that in a long time, and the closest thing we have had that was gas, and everyone around tripped.
And gas got to what, 50 million?
Literally, we just haven't had an interesting project come out in crypto for a long time. Like, we haven't had an interesting concept. What TGE's, because the whole thing around a token and equity now is changed. People view, or good companies view, tokens being a bad thing, and if you've got that sort of size, you may as well IPO like Circle did, instead of going down the route of having a token.
Yeah. Can you guys think of any like short-term bull cases right now? Like, I mean, I feel like I've kind of embarrassed for a while now. Opportunistically flipped bullish on chain, and like, I've round tripped most of that there. I'm still in the tomato. I think the tomato is actually interesting and unique.
I'm actually in the tomato now.
Potato. You're in the tomato now? No.
I was in the potato as well, because there is a fucking.
I was about to say, I'm sure there is a potato. There's a potato. There's probably a thousand different ones now.
Yeah.
The tomato is the only coin I'm holding right now, I think.
Yeah, same.
I sold everything else, and I'm holding that because the price has been relatively steady, and it is the first. And the tomato kind of kickstarted this entire meta, so I'm hopeful it can sustain itself and be a longer winner, and I can sleep on it and whatever. But like, looking at macro stuff, I mean, you got Trump about to take Greenland. The EU is about to like fire back on tariffs. Bitcoin losing key levels. Stock market starting to roll over. I know bulls are going to say like nothing bad ever happens, just zoom out. But like, it feels, and like, I'm just going off my personal sentiment, like, I feel pretty defeated right now. I feel like we've thrown a lot at this. I feel like we've tried to be bullish. We've tried to craft narratives. it just isn't happening. And, especially like we've seen a lot of bad actors, the Trove thing, which we can talk about in a little bit, happening. We've seen people, with this bags meta impersonating founders, hacking people, like just straight up like extracting capital. We had Eric Adams, the NYC coin, recently. Like all this stuff just makes me feel really icky about the space right now. And I'm trying to be positive here. But my sentiment is pretty in the gutter.
I think that's fair. I mean, the so far the Trump administration has been kind of a worst case scenario in the sense that like overall, like crypto majors prices are down, and yet like there's been this blind eye turn to extraction, like lack of consequences for kind of doing things in the gray area. And so obviously that really, there's traders are desperate trying to make things back. And then you've got people who are really emboldened by the lack of consequences. And we've seen that. We'll talk about Trove later. There's unfortunately too many examples of like people doing things basically in plain sight. If you want to talk about like macro, like what you asked for, what would be like an optimistic outlook? To me, there's one thing that I do think would be very bullish. Now short term, like I think you have to be you can be bullish long term crypto and still be conservative right now. Like a lot of geopolitical uncertainty. If you're a TA person, there's a lot of failed indicators and flags on Bitcoin that are not fully, definitive, but scary. But I do think the one thing that like for me, I keep a close eye on is like the Clarity Act in DC passing. I know Coinbase just kind of like pulled out of the last version of it, which is a sign to say that like you're going to keep seeing, like it's not going to get done until there's the right like draft of the bill done. But like without getting into the details on that, there is like bipartisan support on this Clarity Act getting passed. And if you talk to any of the VCs in the space, like any of the major exchange players, like this is the thing they're all super involved in, watching every day, hanging on. And to me, like we're probably going to see this hold up in or stagnation in Bitcoin and obviously a lack of liquidity in alts, which can be very damaging. But if and when that passes, and if that passes in 2026, to me, that's a game changer. Like that changes things very quickly because that's what we're waiting for. And I think, unfortunately, everything Trump has done for crypto has been short-term, quite consequential to the downside. But this is the thing that people really want him to get done. And that, like, I do think you'd see a repricing on alts, like the major alts, ETH, Sol, Hype, etc., very, very quick. If that happens, it's just like, we have no way to know if and when that happens and what the timing will be.
Yeah, I do think it's, it is rough at the moment, but like, once again, we've been here before. I've sat through bear markets before, and it always manages to come back. And I don't think this will be any different. The opportunity in crypto will, like, there is no better space to be in my opinion, to turn nothing into something. I think that will always stay the same here. But yeah, I think that it will always come back. It's just what flavor it comes back in. Does it come back in, the Solana trenches on chain thing, or does it come back in a different way, a different chain? It's tough to predict.
Yeah. The shitty thing is, like, in crypto, you are paid by being relatively early to things for the most. That's where you make the most money. And right now, even though the best thing for your health or the best thing to do is probably just to take a break and step away, I've found that by staying informed and by keeping up with what's happening on chain, even during really bad market conditions, is when something starts to pop up, and you just have to be around to recognize it. So it's like this catch-22 of like, the best thing to do is to step away and take a break, but you also don't want to take a break because there is the chance that the next thing happens. It could happen at any given moment, right? And so I like it's important to stay engaged too. And I'm just not sure, I have no idea what time frame we're looking at here. And of course, over a long enough time horizon, yeah, like of course we're going to come back.
I always think as well, it's maybe a a strange take, but it's like these trenchers who do this every day always manage to win. They might give all back in the end, like majority of them do, but they are always early. Like I think me and Print were talking about this in a different group chat, about Frank's group chat, and the information flow in there is so good that you won't miss anything if you're there all the time. And that is a common trait for a lot of these, I guess, FNF group chats, that they are just chronically online. And I saw a thread guy clip of the other day of saying CT's early to everything. And I think that is true. I think anywhere where there is monetary gain, CT is usually the first movers, because these people are literally here all day doing this shit. So, then people are rewarded in the end. But do you have the mental patience and the mental clarity to be able to sit here through the absolute hellhole, which it is right now? And a lot of people don't.
That's probably the winning combination. And I mean, I'm definitely not someone succeeding at this, but I think if you have, you want to call it the mental unwellness or whatever, like if you have the ability to be chronically online, to be monitoring everything, like scanning, watching, waiting for new narratives to emerge, but you're actually plugged in while having discipline, while having patience, and not deploying, that's probably a pretty good combination of things to have. That's very much easier said than done. The tough thing is, like, I think even if you do that, then it's like, well, when do you pull the trigger? Because I think right now there's a lot of people who are chronically online who know everything that's going on, and then there are a good amount of patient people who are pretty checked out, not doing anything. I'm not sure how many people are online and not acting on stuff and withholding. That is probably the patience and discipline to keep going and be careful with that would be a good combination to have in this environment.
I think my advice here is probably size down tremendously. If you can do that, if you can be online and play with 5% of your normal size, let's say 10% of your normal size, even, so you're catching things and you do have skin in the game and a reason to stay involved. I think my biggest mistake in the last month was that I put more size in than I should have to play this stuff. I deployed not like a terribly meaningful amount, but more money than I was willing to like lose given the shittiness of the market. So I think really sizing down right now and staying engaged is kind of probably the move. So you're here, you're engaged, you're playing, you have skin in the game, but you're not like risking your port. Because like the reality is you're not turning $1,000,000 into $10 million like you could have done if you joined in, November of 23 or whatever it was. That's just not happening right now, but it could happen. And if you've done it before, you can do it again. Is kind of my general take. One thing I did want to talk about was all this shit happening with Trove and how it just ended up being an absolute hard drug, and how fucking horrible that is for the space, and how much shit got caught up in it, how many people got caught up in it, and how there were signs, and it looks like people in the Hyperliquid community knew about some of this bullshit, but weren't maybe it didn't reach our part of crypto Twitter. And then anyways, it's really unfortunate. And then I know we got roped into it a little bit too. Unfortunately, we're only a part of it for a very short amount of time and saw these red flags and backed out within, a couple days, thank goodness. But it's really shitty. I wrote an angel check months ago and that went to zero along with everyone else's money. But I
think they were the first to be off ramped, by the way. All of our angel checks, all of the everything we had seeded were the first ones to go. I sort of just wrote it off straight away. As soon as the poly market shit started happening, and I was like, oh man, this just stinks.
Yeah, and the red flags of it, apparently in the Hyperliquid community, this is a lot of the stuff has been known for a long time. I didn't know any of it. And I think it's, people who were talking about it and whatever, and promoting it, probably didn't do any DD on it. I would guess, which is, their fault and problem. And I think for me, when I wrote my angel check back in I don't know, I think it was September or something. I didn't do any due diligence. I don't do any due diligence on any angel checks I write. I think I need to stop writing.
Just writing them. Just writing checks.
That might be your first problem right there.
Yeah, your DMs are going to be flooded now. Your DMs are going to be flooded of just random projects. Oh, Wood, I've got a perfect opportunity for you.
Oh, it truly is. I mean, I've probably written like 25 angel checks in the last year, which is an obscene amount of angel checks. And I think one of them I got paid on and I lost 10% on it, but it was an exit. It was a negative 10% exit. And then FOMO is one that's doing very well and I'm very happy with, but I think every other one of them is going to go to pretty much.
I'm like 6 for 6 rugged.
Yeah, so
like insane.
So number one, I need to start doing better at EDE. Two, I think learning a lesson that like taking people at face value and like really learned the lesson that like you can't trust anybody in this fucking space, and that no one has your best intentions in mind. And if anything ever, if someone comes to you with a deal, and the deal back in September, October, whatever it was, I don't think anyone was really talking about it back then. It all kind of came to light now, but I wrote this check, forgot about it, and then all of a sudden it's like all over the fucking place. And these guys, I can't believe they raised $11 million and just are keeping it.
Yeah, and they had the fucking hype treasury as well.
Did you say that people in the hype community are saying now that they knew they knew these were bad
actors? Yeah.
actors?
So what happened was, I mean, I heard it from some people in Tim Wan's chat, like right away. They were like, "Oh, like you angeled into this. Like these guys are scammers." And this was like 2.5 weeks ago, probably. And these guys are deep into the hype community. And I was just like, I had no idea. I wrote them a check, like I angeled into them. I thought I was supporting my bags. And apparently it's well known that they were Dubai scammers. And then you saw like Stowe tweet something out like a couple weeks ago that it was a scam. And then you had people in the hype community, that MLM Bach guy was all over it saying they were scammers.
That was the big red flag, man. Like when I saw him under the tweet and he was saying like he won't post on his account, I was like, fuck.
I didn't know who he was.
Oh, really? Oh, man, yeah.
I have no clue who he was.
If you're on the wrong side of his takes, especially on chain regarding hype, you're probably on the wrong side of the thing. Like,
yeah. And so like shame on like
MLM.
Yeah. And so shame on, I mean, not doing diligence and not knowing. And, I tend to think, I think Gainsey had a good tweet on it today, which I thought was kind of funny. He was like, people who dodged that, who didn't promote it or didn't write an angel check or whatever, are like in secret, like patting themselves on the back and like really and like super relieved because like they missed it this time. But like the reality is like if it didn't get you this time, it'll get you the next time. The list of scams and rugs, and especially as we get deeper into a bear, if the bear market continues, we don't see a V reversal or whatever, these Trove people are the kind of people that are left in the market right now.
Which is crazy because they had a full working product. Like the product was actually semi decent. Like, yeah, it's an elaborate one. It's an elaborate one.
Did you guys see Zach XBT fully dox the guy?
Yeah, that is crazy, man. That is crazy. Yeah, full dox of the guy. But like, yeah, is that 100% him?
I have no idea. Damien, you guys know who I think is OX Damien?
Yeah.
He was saying that he met him at Token 249 in Singapore. And that was 100% him. So I'm curious if that, sparks anything or if the money is gone forever. But, people that, got caught up in all this bullshit, it really, really, really fucking sucks. And I hope that if they do continue to build, if they are if there is any intention to build a product or whatever going forward, I hope no one, supports or works with them on it because what they've done is truly terrible.
I mean, it's like it's tough in this space as well because everyone will forget within 2 weeks. Like Hayden, for example, Hayden's done something actually insane. When you tell it to someone who's not in the space, and you tell them like he was fucking around with the daughter of the Argentinian president, fucking posting all this shit on socials, rugged
Oh
an
my
obscene
God.
amount of money, like an absolute obscene amount of money. He was full doxed, came out in a Moncler hoodie after, done a little
Yeah.
video, and just fucked off. Never saw him again. And like when you actually describe these events to someone outside and is not in the space, they're like, holy shit, this place is insane. Like,
The crazy thing is that someone like Hayden like could come back in 3 years and say he's completely reformed and just dupe us all again.
people would buy his coin. If he launched a coin today, it would go to 10 mil. This is the
Yeah.
craziest part. It would go to 10 mil because everyone's like, oh, hey, Aiden Davis, he's on a revenge tour. Like, this is what happens. This is what happens. People forget very, very fast in this space. And yeah, I hope that doesn't happen here. And I feel like a lot more people care about the Trove stuff. I think maybe because we're in a bear market. I think the Hayden stuff sort of just got brushed under the carpet. Like, oh, we're in a bull market. Let's just fucking move on. Like, we got rugged. Let's move on. But you know, I think people are. I would like to say people are learning their lesson. I certainly learned a fucking lesson there. Yeah, but I got my fucking angel check and it was worth $300 when it landed in my wallet. So just completely rugged. So. But yeah, what can you do? What can you do? It's just one of them.
I do think it's interesting. Like maybe this is going to be a polarizing topic, but like a lot, I noticed now, obviously we had the badges for like 24 hours and had no idea what was going on and then pulled them quickly. But like, there's a lot of people who had the Trove badges are getting buried on the timeline, right? Like there's so much like vitriol towards them. Is that like, we know obviously they accepted, like it was a deal for money, like to promote, whether I don't know, I didn't check if all these accounts like actively were promoting versus just put the badge on, but like I assume, like, is it fair to assume people think that they knew what was going on with this, or they accepted a KOL deal and probably didn't do due diligence? Like, do people fundamentally have issues with people accepting promoted deals, or is it specifically because this ended up being a scam and they're mad that these people didn't uh do due diligence on it? Like, I think there's a fine line of like, uh you know, what is the hate directed towards right now, and is it warranted? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think people fail to realize a lot of the guys who were promoting this were angel investors. These guys were angel. These guys got rugged too, and that doesn't make it any better. But they just thought, I'm promoting my bags here. Why not? This seems like a safe thing. They've got a fucking fat hype treasury, and all these people. Like, there's a lot of social proof behind it. Like already, this should be okay, and promote it to their audience because they bought themselves. I think it's a different case where you take a payment for something, you promote it, you don't actually believe, you haven't fucking bought any bags yourself, and then it rocks. I think it's a different story then. But like, we're in the same boat as everyone else. We all bought fucking the ICO. We all bought the fucking angel round, and we just got rugged. And yes, we promoted it, but like, that's what you do. You buy things on crypto Twitter and you promote them because you're like, I'm in this. I believe in this. I'm putting my money behind it, so I'm going to put my voice behind it. Maybe that's a mistake, and I should do more DD. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It's a tough one.
I think back to your point, Sizzle. I think people have a problem with all of it. And I think people have a problem with people taking paid deals because it's hard to understand, like, if you have put money into it, if you haven't put money into it, what type of deal are you getting? Like, how much are you benefiting from promoting this? And then two, like, have you done your due diligence, and like, what are the downside, what are like the impacts of you shilling? And like in the case here with Trove, people shilling these bags led to $9 million being allocated to a product that apparently no one had done any due diligence on or had like effectively researched. And because of the social awareness that was brought on through badges and through KOL deals or whatever it is, these people were able to extract a bunch of money from the community. And I think, like, going forward, these types of deals are going to be looked at really, really poorly as a result of this.
Hopefully so, yeah.
And I think that, it's, I think that it's the right thing. I think that people either need to be like super transparent, and obviously, like most people aren't like these Trove people. I think most people are good. Um, Inherently, I do believe that. Genuinely, I think I go into everything thinking most people have good intentions for things, which is naive of me, and it's got me fucked in this space more times than I care to admit. But these guys are bad actors in a space that I think is generally good, and it's really a shame. But I do think refraining from deals like these and being wary of them is the right approach. Now, whether these people have bad intentions or not, that's on a case-by-case basis. But I think this kind of is going to set back the whole affiliate marketing thing for a long time.
Yeah, I think so as well. Especially the badges and stuff. Like, I saw someone slip on a guy who had a Trove badge. He just slipped on another badge straight away.
Stop it! Really?
Just slipped on another badge straight away. Was like, this new product. Like, guys, everyone come here. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, if someone does that, they just have no fucking
yeah
at that point. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to set things back a lot, and I think it's probably a good thing, and I think it's going to inspire a lot of people to do a lot more diligence into things that they are going to put their name behind and are going to promote.
And put your money behind.
And put your money behind.
Yeah,
and put your money behind. It's not like we're not in the situation anymore where you can just like spray and pray and number will go up and people will buy into the bullshit. And I think this was a really good reminder of what like the impact of your voice can have and like the negative impacts it can have, because I think a lot of people just like aimlessly will tweet things and shill things, and you see like a guy will shill a 300k coin, then a 100k coin, but like there are other sides to this. And like I think you need to be able to sleep at night with what you're putting your name behind. And I hope people learn their lesson from this. I really do, and I hope it ends up being for the better for the space. But we will see. We will see.
I feel like we've been here before a lot of times with this, and
yeah, we've been.
Unfortunately, it's just never different. Yeah, it's just never different. And we all do just still fall for this stuff. And I think it's more heightened during bull market conditions because anything that's shilled you just throw money at. And yeah, maybe that 100% does need to change.
And there's liquidity that can wipe shit under the rug. Like Hayden, for example.
Literally.
The best example is like Hayden and the Melania stuff. Like there was still liquidity on chain. So like, yeah, people got rugged, but like let's just get right back at it again. There's still
let's go make it back. That was honestly, I lost a lot on the Argentinian coin. It was probably my biggest,
Libra, yeah.
Yeah, Libra. Yeah, I lost. That was probably my biggest loss that I ever had. And it's like, it's just, what was I gonna do? Am I gonna just sit here and say, "Oh, let's sue, let's go crazy on chain," or it was like, should I just go back out there and try and make it back? And it's easier to do that in bull market conditions. It's very hard to do that in these conditions. So it's a lot more hard to stomach. And like I said, I think we all took losses on it.
Yeah,
reputationally and fucking financially. So,
Yeah. On a side note, Bitcoin just lost 90k.
Oh wow, I haven't looked at. The funny part is my mouse is dead, and I can't even check anything right now. So
yeah, Bitcoin lost 90k. SPY's down 1.5%. I mean, maybe it's just prices that are making us feel down today, guys.
Funny how that works, right?
Yeah, funny how that works. Letting price dictate my emotions. I've been doing this for 4 years, and it never changes.
Someone in the comments just said SolSwizzle was the GOAT for 48 hours.
SolSwizzle was the GOAT. Yeah,
coming off of being the GOAT for 48 hours to wait. SolSwizzle, when did you sell your gas? By the way, I just woke up. I sold like 18 million or 20 million after round tripping most of it, and I woke up and it was at 2 million.
And I got completely hosed because what happened was what's his name, Steve, he posted like another Medium article and basically like fully denounced it. Like he basically like doubled down on no longer engaging it and saying he has to move on from all this. So when that happened, I think the token had been holding up around like 10 million, and it actually like, I was hopeful it was forming a bottom. I was like, okay, I'll kind of evaluate if it loses certain levels, I'll probably start scaling out. But when that happened, the article posted, and within like 15 minutes, it went from 10 million to probably 1 million, 1.5 million
Yeah,
market cap. So,
insane.
I couldn't even, I tried to move funds off FOMO so I could get out, but I ended up having to just sell with the FOMO fees and everything. So I did it all on the app and along with everyone else. I don't know. The sells were probably anywhere from 3 million, 3.5 million down to like 2 million.
Wow.
I didn't escape before the crisis at all because I was like at home reading or watching a movie or something. I wasn't even paying attention. And then I saw it and it was one of those like throwbacks where it's like, you have to run to your computer because it's literally happening in 5 minutes. You had
I
5 minutes
hate that,
to get
man.
out.
Yeah, computers. It feels like your computer's taking ages to start.
Yeah.
It's just fucking like, what's going on?
And this one, you knew there was no bounce. It was over.
Yeah,
it was over.
You kind of knew it was over when his LinkedIn post said, when someone was commenting like, "Hey, can you go on CT and endorse your token more?" And his response was, "Sure."
Yeah,
and you were like, "Oh, here it goes." He's starting to get
Yeah.
skeptical of these of the
right.
of those
But then
idiots.
that was like a few hours later. He posted that basically being like, "Yeah, I'm done with this." So,
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it plenty already, but lessons learned.
What's a good
and
example of you running to your computer sats to have to sell something?
Man, fucking the fucking Libra.
Like
Libra,
you ran to your computer to sell that?
bro, fog, man. I think it one candle down 30% in one day, and I was like, oh, bro, I'm fucking done. Like, yeah. And then probably the biggest situation of that I remember was I spoke about last show or the show before, FTX, man. FTX when that whole situation went down, I still had a little bit of money on FTX and I rushed my computer to try and hit withdraw and it wasn't withdrawing. It wasn't withdrawing and I was refreshing Twitter going and like everyone was in the same boat. I remember High Stakes Capital was tweeting doubling down on FTX saying he's depositing and he's going long the FTX token and that filled me with a bit of confidence at the time. And I was like, maybe I'm going to be fine here. And it obviously didn't end up being fine. But yeah.
Man,
the only other time in recent memory I remember actually doing this where I like actively ran back was when the Melania token dropped. And I mean, you guys know I was holding a very significant amount of Trump that I got in early on and everyone thought I was insane because I was holding. And I remember I hadn't, it was such a crazy weekend. I hadn't left my computer for, hours, whatever. Finally, I was up a couple 1,000%, whatever on Trump. And I leave with my now wife and we're on a walking the dogs, whatever. And I get the notification that Melania drops. I see all the backlash and I literally sprinted to my car, drove back, and I tried to panic sell. I tried to sell all of my Trump and thank God the network was so congested. I couldn't even get a single transaction through. I couldn't even move wallets or anything. Couldn't get it from Ledger to Hot Wallet. And then it recovered, if you guys remember. Pretty significantly.
Yeah.
I didn't sell during the Melania nuke, but I remember us talking about this SolSwizzle very distinctly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, it saved me a lot to the fact that Solana stopped working. I think that's the last time Solana had an outage, actually.
Yeah, but I feel like we haven't told the story of you guys in Trump. I feel like there's a lot to unpack there in that whole situation. Like that's like a pivotal moment in both your guys being on CT, and we haven't told that big story.
It's a long story. Maybe next episode.
Yeah, next
episode.
I never told the story on CT. I don't think SolSwizzle did either.
I mean,
I think
certainly the most
talked about it.
The craziest event I think Wood and I have ever experienced for sure.
John fading in ETB, like wow.
Oh my God.
There's so many things to unpack. Like,
yeah, well, if prices are bad again, we can do that next week.
Yeah.
Right,
reminisce about the better times.
Yeah, seriously. All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Good chatting today. Shitty prices, but all things considered, better days ahead of us. At least I think we can all agree on that.
It's gotta be.
It can't
get worse. Can't get worse.
Can't get worse.
Can't get worse. This is all-time low for me right now. So
yeah. And I'm trying to get Shaw on the show.
That'd be an
So I'm
interesting
That would
hopeful
be
we'll
good.
get him
That
on
would be
for
good.
Friday.
I saw he responded to you on CT. So
He did.
Uh,
He responded to me
I
saying
think
he'd
we
come
should
on.
get Shaw on here.
I think hearing his side of the story about AI 16Z in hindsight, because I feel like, maybe he's lost a little bit of attention, but I think his contributions to the AI meta were like he was the main character of AI.
And he was the main character. And running a coin to 2.6, 2.3
So
billion.
it's
That is a massive thing. That won't be forgotten. So and
No.
he made a lot of people money. He also lost a lot of people money. Wait, hype is at 21. Hype is down 10%.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I can't even check the price. I've got to see on here. Fucking hell, man. Jesus.
So yeah,
it's funny, man. Everyone's been looking for the next Shaw, the next AI 16Z. That's what they always refer to.
Yeah.
He's back. He's back, guys.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back. He's trying to say that the next shot is just Shaw.
Yeah.
He might have acquired a few too many enemies, but we will see, and hopefully we can get him on. But anyways, yeah, good chatting today, guys. We will be back Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll see everybody soon. Thanks for joining.